Chriselda, good morning once again. I know that you have found a house that literally has almost been submerged. It's completely sunk from the levels it was. Talk to us. What's happening there?
Well, Leanne, there's absolutely nothing left here. I managed to track down the Tabete family. This is the Tabete household in Nazareth in Pinetown. And there's absolute devastation here. I will show you in just a few moments. Take a look at this gate. This gate moved quite far from where it was, collapsed completely towards the direction where I am. I'm just a little bit, nervous standing here at the moment because this structure could collapse at any given moment. You see here what was the lounge area. There's absolutely nothing left. And the only way I'm able to identify that this was a lounge area is by the little chandelier that, still is hanging from what remains of the roof of this particular area. Just taking a look in here, you could tell that it's the kitchen towards my right hand side, but there is absolutely nothing left here. All collapsed. We understand that on the day that the floods had really reached its peak, you found many people who were trying to run for cover. One of the residents in this particular area, in fact, one of the family members here, I understand, escaped through the window of this particular home. Cleanup operations are trying to take place here. I will show you in just a moment some of the men who are trying to remove some of the mud. It's extremely difficult to operate in this area, which gives you a real sense of the tragedy that has befallen this particular area and many others, of course. I'm going to walk towards this particular direction here, and I'm going to bring in Sis Ayanda Tabete. We really appreciate, Leanne, it's very difficult to speak to people who've been befallen with such tragedy during this time, but they've really welcomed us in this area because they want those in authority to see what is taking place here with the hope that there will be some assistance that will be brought to this area. Many of them taking shelter with neighbors and also taking shelter at a local community hall. Sis Ayanda, yo sanivuse ekseni Nkosi yami kusekhaya la manje ngizwile ukuthi nihlezi kwamakhelwane.
Yebo, lapha kwaphili basizile nje basivulela ikhaya labo kuwom sihleli khona rather than ukuhlala community hall. Safika nje ko Monday silele imvula ke vele lana iza ngamandla malinetha because main sewage wethu la uhamba la ngaphansi komuzi wasekhaya. So wonke nje amanzi mayehla from Phili Road to Mthwali Road angena la. So nje besezivele nje sigcwele umgwaqo sisiza kwamakhelwane kaKhumalo lapha abesengenile nje amanzi akhona. So sathi nje ukulala kancane emva kalokho next thing we know amakhelwane lapha kaMahlobo bayasimemeza bathi asiphume. Shuthi ubhuti wami wabona ngemoto isingena egarage. Luckily waphumela ngale. Usisi wami naye waphuma ngasekitchen. Kamero la mali lapha egcineni ngale. Umama ephuma naye wastaka passage. So mayistaka passage inhlabathi vele singaphakathi siyangena. So wabisha khona because ibisimstop ukuthi akasakwazi ukunyakaza. Mina ngiphume nomntana lana because I opened the window yami ngithi lenhlabathi le khona isite lana. So isite collapsile yagcwala amanzi yazozombuza umuzi wasekhaya. Saphuma ke omakhelane bashayile iwindi saphuma ngamawindi kwavula ifence sakhuphukela sahlala kulwa stairs lesiya. Nakhona we were literally running ubusuku bonke because nakhona sihleli khona kuyana inhlabathi ground floor like iyangena ngaphakathi kuneyimbobo sabaleka seza la emgaqweni. Mesifika la emgaqweni asikwazi ukudlula ngale because kunamanzi ngale like umgwaqo usuvalekile nangala usuvalekile umgwaqo. La sime khona wavele lwamuzi lwakaMajolo wavele wakhulapsa wonke washona umama khona nobaba wakhona nengane yakhona. So it was a battle nje. We were literally running ubusuku bonke, running for our lives. It's a nightmare ngendlela kubuhlungisha ukulala. Mekuhla ngisho ispoon siyakhuphuka siyabaleka because nje we were literally running sazi ukuthi nje kuyabaleka makwehla nje something kuwa something siyabaleka yabona nje si traumatized ingane ayilali ebusuku kunzima.
Ngizwile sisayanda ukuthi bekufike abantu abakhulu lana abazama ukuzobona ukuthi mhlambi banganisiza ngani. Yes. Ningadingani njenge community ikhaya ngiyabona ukuthi kukho obhuti lapha emuva bayazama nje ukususa nje ngiyaqala ukuyibona into nje.
Angazi ukuthi ngingathi baqala but nje sidinga i-shelter sidinga basilungisele lana because inhlabathi lana iningi ukuthi ingasuswa abantu like kudingala ugandaganda kudingala ama-truck azothatha inhlabathi imizi yalenga ngayabona nje loya muzi loya uyalenga loya ugcwele amanzi ngaphansi bawaclearishile amanzi but uyaqhamuka amanzi ngaphansi asazi usikwenzakalani. Thina-ke la ngesikwazi ukubuyela le ndawo le ine-main pipe yomgwaqo uhulumeni fanele asisuse lana asifunele indawo ayibiyele indawo le ndawo akwazi ukuthi ngaba khona umuzi kuyona so
Sisayanda siyabonga kakhulu sisiwami ngesikhathi sakho senivuse ekseni nje ukuthi nizokhuluma nathi ngiyabona ukuthi soyagodola sisiwami ungahamba ke somi uyifihla nje lapha kwamakhelwane siyabonga kakhulu sisiwami. Leanne, let me show you what Sis Ayanda Tabete is talking about. This is absolutely ridiculous. You know I'm quite short, so there is absolutely no way that I'm going to be able to reach the roof of this house, and that is how far this mud has come to. And when she talks about escaping through the windows, take a look at this. This is how far the mud has slid to. Half of this is closed. It's closed off. And right now, the only chance, take a look towards my right, there's not much to salvage here. Sis Ayanda's indicating that she would want, government to move them from here. There's a main sewer pipe, she says, that runs through the home here. These are the gentlemen who are trying to salvage what is left here, trying to remove some of the mud. You heard her say, what she means is that she wants, those big caterpillar trucks, to come to this area and try and assist because the rubble is extremely plenty. And if I walk towards this particular area here, you would honestly see that there is not much that is left. Here, this could collapse at any given moment. This is where, you could see when she indicated the vehicle had already gone right into the house. So that was part of what started the collapse of this particular area. So the face of this absolute devastation here, it's going to take a very long time for these families to, try and pick up the pieces of what is left here. Just very quickly, I'm really hoping that we've got time. There is another house here where I understand, I'm not sure if my colleague is going to be able to point towards one of the houses. There's one, take a look at this vehicle here. I'm going to try and move towards this area. Sanbon ma, kunjani? Siyaxolisa nje ukuthi singene singanqonqozanga. Siyabonga. Siyabonga ma. Ngicela usondele kancane ma. Mama, izindlu ziyalenga ngapha. Nisinde kanjani?
Asazi sinde kanjani. Ngendlela esaphuma ngayo la. Ubaba wesemnyango yena edila eminyango lethu bazama amanzi sezwa ngaye sememeza ethi phumani kuza nje into eyayizana yodaka namanzi izongena endlini yangena edaningi isize ekitchen ngacapningane ngicapna nengubo zokulala nazi ngibeke eminyango bezinodaka eyayilele ngayicaphuna saphuma nayo yafika ngijomba ngawa mina maqede la ngavuvuka ngihamba ngivuvukele konke la ngiphelile konke la kuthiwa mathakane kuyaphansi ngibhlaza cwe saphuma amakhelwane kwazi kwasika ucingo kamakhelwane ngoba kungakabhidliki ingane kanti sothi masisuka futhi kube kubhidlika khona
siyabonga kakhulu mabesicela nje ukuthi sibheke lana angikho sure ukuthi colleague yami uzokhona ukubona lana ngeke zingilume lezinja lesi siyabonga. This is unbelievable. If you take a look here,
imoto yayisemgwaqeni le moto kweyaka makhelwane yasuka nezikhukhula lapha phezulu ubaba wavika yona uyena abona ngayo oqala izozo umshaya yajika imoto yathi shaya kube yathola igarage yaphinda yangena la yajika yazongena la yafika misa isigcobo la ngoba sisigcobo salayini esiyinsimbi yama kwangena konke ke la ko round amanzi kade sikhipha nje izinto sitatulula kodwa ke ngoba ingane zesikoleni sisamile sinobaba wazama ugesi kuona sabuya ngoba phela ingane kufanele zihambe zesikoleni kuse ngibuye ngibe khona ekhaya kanje ngenzela izingane zesikoleni nobaba uyavuka emsebenzini kade engayile zonke le insuku kodwa manje usehambile kwa emsebenzini iqalile isonto.
Ngiyabona mama nokuthi wenza washing la, you know Leanne, these blankets, Mama is really trying to just dry up. The bit of a sunshine here today, but not taking away from the devastation that remains. These blankets, she's trying to hang up here, you know, just just a bit of warmth that she's able to get very quickly before you let us go there. Take a look here. This brick, I wouldn't even, just a massive cement brick, which is right on top of this car. I'm hoping my colleague is going to be able to show you. This car came all the way from right on top where we started broadcasting from and came right down to this area. So had it fallen on the other side, it was bound to cause more damage in terms of what we've seen. We've already heard in this area from the local councillor that 26 people have died in this area and many others remain unaccounted for. So we'll certainly try to move to as many areas as possible, and we expect a little bit later on we'll also get members of the rescue services who will try to come and see if they're not able to dig in certain areas to try and find the remains of those who have perished in this particular tragedy. But a destruction of absolute mayhem, a destruction that many say here they're not going to recover from in a very long time. And as they pick up the pieces of their lives, they're going to have to find a way to move on. But they're really hoping that government is going to assist them as much as possible with regard to this. But there's absolutely nothing left in most of these places that we have visited. It's going to be a very difficult time for these families.
Chriselda, really giving us a devastating stories coming out there in Pinetown this morning in KwaZulu-Natal, the after effects of the flooding and the stories and the lives that have been disrupted and the hope that is fleeting every day, that they are just desperate for help and hoping that it'll come their way. So Chriselda Lewis out and about in KwaZulu-Natal.